Okay, so now we're going to be putting your elastic that you've measured, remember, 2 inches less than your natural waistline. You're going to put a safety pin. The bigger the safety pin, the easier it is. Just through the top, so it's just like this, okay? And then you're going to insert that into the opening, just like so. And you're going to push it. And so we basically use the safety pin, and I use my right thumb to hold the end of the safety pin. I use my left hand and thumb to scrunch up the material onto the safety pin. Hold this side, pull the fabric, and now it's moved. Rinse and repeat. So you just keep, it's like a little inchworm, again, just kind of going through. Pull it. And you have to kind of find your groove. Again, I'm holding one end of the safety pin, scrunching up the fabric on like the nose of the safety pin, then pulling the fabric this way. Once we get to the end of this, I'm gonna have to pin that in place because if the elastic is smaller than the tube, so it scrunches up. But if we don't pin it, it's just gonna follow it in like an endless circle, which would not be very fun. So again, keep going, kind of use your peripherals to watch the end of that elastic, and then I'll show you how to pin that too. There we go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, that's fine for a second. And so I'm just gonna take this end so it doesn't follow through and just take one of my pins, go down into it, come back up. If you're really scared to lose it, you can put another one in. Just again to hold that one, and then now it should be good. So now we're just inching it through. Again, this might take a little bit of practice. Hopefully, you know, we do this for the scrunchies, so you should have a little bit of practice. And this is why basting down those seam allowances are so important, because if we didn't, you would get stuck. You can see it start scrunching up. We will have to, at the end, check that there's no twist. Oh my gosh, I'm already there. You don't want any twists, because then nobody likes to wear pants with like a twist in them. So start to move that about, just like so. So now I've got my 2 ends here. Okay, before I do anything with them, I'm gonna like feel, make sure there's no twists. Okay, there's not. If there is, then just take some time to untwist it. And now I'm going to remove the safety pin, remove these 2 pins. Don't lose this. Make sure when they overlap, like so, okay? You don't want to sew it like this. You want it so that they basically just become one. So you overlap it like so. Again, make sure before you do anything, no twists. And then I'm going to pin these. Hold it in place. And what's nice about pajama pants, since the elastic is so long, once I know there's no twist, I can just scrunch it up a lot to make sewing this a lot easier. And then when we sew this part, 2 options. You could just sew back and forth down each of the ends, or you can sew a little fancy rectangle if you want. I'm going to do the way most of you like to do it, which is the quick and easy way. So I'm just gonna, oh, the other thing I like to do is I put it on zigzag for extra reinforcement. Again, you don't have to, but I do. So click on 4, and literally you're going to come forward and go backward and go forward and go backward. And you're gonna keep doing this. I mean, the more reinforcement you give it, you know, just better for your pants. I think that's plenty. Lift it up so you can see how it kind of like, I know it's white, but you can see how it, that's not going anywhere. You're not going to be, okay. Cut that off. And then you do the same thing on this end so it lays flat. So I'm just kind of going right over here. Same thing, just a bunch of forward stitches, back, forward, never gonna see this. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's gonna be lost in your casing forever. You can cut all these off, but you see that's nice and tight. And then as that goes back through, you can kind of scrunch out your pants a little bit more, make it nice and even. Triple check before you close the opening that there's no twists. And then what I do, I'm gonna put a couple pins. Actually, this is where I would put in a little tag. So you can even just cut, like, say this was a piece of your flannel fabric. What I like to do is sometimes I'll cut a rectangle. You can use decorative stitches. You can write your initials on it or something fancy. I might serge or zigzag all the edges of this, and then you can just like put it in like that. And so that when you sew this shut, there's just like a little tag right there. So again, this is just tape, but you can do it with a piece of fabric. You can use like a friend's like contrasting fabric or some of my scraps, whatever you want. But it does help you know then which is the front and which is the back. And then I turn those little edges under again, just so that we don't see any raw edges. Again, if we want to pretend this is, I'll just show you guys. Keep that right there. So we're pretending that's a cute little tag of fabric. I'll show you my cute ones later. If you're making them for mom, you can write like, I love you, mom, or something. I don't know. Had some students do like Mother's Day gifts. And then just where we left off, you'll back stitch. Oh, we're zigzagging. And then just remove those pins. Sewing right over your tag. And get to the other edge, just back stitch. You do want to kind of like pay attention that you're staying right on top of that line, just so it looks a little nicer, because there'll be a little double stitch on that side. And then you can cut all your threads off. And then you can see how like your cute little tab would be in there. Just rip that off now, but you know, it would be there. And then you've got your whole waistband. Now the only thing you'd have to go back and do is remove these basting stitches. Sometimes you're lucky and you could just pull them right out. Other times you just got to use your seam ripper a little bit of combination of both. But see, that came right out. Let's see if this one comes right out. It's kind of like oddly satisfying if you get it all in one pull. Of course, I'm not getting that right now, but so again, you could use the combination of, like I got it all out on the right side, most of it, but you can also use your seam ripper to help you just a little bit, just get any of those. You could either do this part now or at the very end, just removing any of those stitches. Again, they should come out fairly easy because they were basting stitches, but now that's completely gone. And you would just do the same thing with any of the other basting stitches. There's one right here. Again, you could try the pull. This one's kind of caught, so didn't think it was gonna go, but you never know. So you can use your little seam ripper, just get those edges up too, and then it should pull, and then you could take the one out at the very top too. And that's it.